everyone! Welcome back to another 1v1 battle. I am playing as Chaos for this one, and we are facing off against the Greenskins. My army here is Kholek Sun Eater, a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and a group of Dragon Ogres, which are like my anti-large, anti-orc, boar, boy, big and cav type of group that I usually bring when I bring Kholek to the fight. Our main infantry here is 2 Chaos Warriors with great weapons, an Armored Chaos Troll, 2 Aspiring Champions, 2 Chaos Warriors, just normal Chaos Warriors, and then a Chaos Sorcerer Metal, and on him I brought, Vienna's Golden Hounds, Savannah's Golden Hounds. I can never remember the name of the spell. Gehenna's Golden Hounds, and then also Transmutation of Lead, which lowers damage and melee attack for 30 seconds in a wide area. So I brought the 2 Chaos Warriors with great weapons and the Armored Trolls to fight off against Black Orcs and, actually let me keep the pause, Black Orcs and Crimson Killers. What I got, we have 4 groups of Squig Herds right here, 4 more groups of Squig Herds right here, 5 more groups of Squig Herds back there, and then 3 Goblin Big Bosses mounted on wolves. And not even the spiders, which is what you want them mounted on because that gives them poison damage. Without the spider, the Goblin Big Boss is not nearly as useful. Not nearly as useful. Skarsnik and Gobla, and then an Arachnarok Queen to fill out the ranks of this clearly cheesy army. I've said before how powerful a whole army of Squig Herds can be against Chaos and Dwarves because, you know, your armored infantry and Squig Herds, well, they are anti-armor and anti-infantry. And then what really makes them powerful, they have a decently low leadership here. But let's just pause it for a moment in case you may have forgotten or did not know. The Squig Herds, not the Squig Herd Riders or the Squig Hoppas. The ones that have the Night Goblins don't have this. But the normal Squig Herds have Squigs Go Wild. For 15 seconds, if their leadership is wavering, then they gain Unbreakable. They then cause fear. They also get 16 melee attack and, hey, additional 18% armor piercing damage over the 23 that they already currently have. So when they're about to break, also they're immune to psychology. When they're about to break, they then become unbreakable. Unbreakable for 15 seconds. And then the thing is, it's going to recharge pretty quickly, so they will proc this again and again. There's a reason why Squig Herds are pretty strong, and they're so cheap. I think they're only 500 or 550, which allows this player to spam 15, or not 15, 13 of them? It's a lot. So my idea, or my plan here is like, oh shit, that's my plan. I'm going to try and have my main infantry corps here destroy or fight these 4 Squig Herds. And the ones that are coming out of the forest over here, I'm going to try and run interference with our Dragon Ogre Kholek and the Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. I have to try and stop as many as I can from getting to my infantry because that's where they are going to excel, is murdering my infantry. And unfortunately in the forest, my trolls are going... Oh, also, I believe the Squig Herds are considered small. They're not considered large, so they don't get a weakness in the trees. I think. I don't... Look, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think Squig Hoppers are large, Squig Herds are small. So again, they can bypass the whole, you know, penalty when fighting in a forest that other large creatures have to endure. I think. If it's not true, if you know for certain, please let me know in the comments because I'm dying to know. In fact, I'm dying to know about a lot of things in this game, stat-wise. So it would be nice if CA would just put, like, large in the unit description. Just say it. Don't say, like, this is a large monstrous infantry. No, don't be vague. Tell me specifics. Is it large or is it small? What the hell is it? Please, CA, I'm begging you. One word. Large, small. Anyway, little pet peeve of mine in this game. Lack of information that we get. Anyway, let's press play. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they're considered small so they don't have a penalty in the forest like my Chaos Trolls do. So we did manage to pin a few groups of these Squig Herds over here, and then the 3 Goblin Big Bosses are going to come in as well, and the Arachnarok is going to spawn their spiderling hatchlings, so we're going to have to deal with all of these. And the Arachnarok Queen Skarsnik is still kind of coming over here. I cast Gehenna's Golden Hounds in hopes that they would go through the Squig Herds, but they don't. I cast it, and then they just like kind of come right back towards the caster, which is over here. So the second wave of Squig Herds is coming in behind our infantry, but we have actually managed to rout them even through their unbreakable 15 seconds. We managed to get through it, and then they broke because they were not winning combat when they popped out of their unbreakable. So the leadership was really low, so that we managed to break them there. And now we gotta deal with the second wave. And this wave is gonna come back. They are gonna get the leadership back. It's so much damage for our Chaos Warriors to handle. But so far they're doing pretty good. A lot of the Squig herds were tied up over here. We have now routed these Squig herds with Kholek, the Dragon Ogres, and the Shaggoth. And now we have quickly dealt with this Arachnoid Queen because all of this is anti-armor and anti-large. This is the last battle the Arachnoid Queen wants. The Arachnoid Queen should have been thrown into this massive carnage over here because that's a combat that she actually wants. This is the exact opposite. So we're getting hit here by the Goblin Big Boss, but I'm mostly ignoring them for right now because they don't have poison, so they're not my biggest concern. And now we're going to try and run away from them, and I'm going to try and join the rest of my soldiers over here who now fought off the second wave of Squig herds. We have fought through their Unbreakable, and they are now routing. The first group has come back from routing, and they're going to be thrown into us again, along with this group who was routed from our Dragon Ogres and Kholek. And now that we're done with the Queen, we are going to run over here closer to our troops so we can get supported by them, because we are actually taking a lot of damage. We've been getting hit by these Goblin Big Bosses, all these Squig herds, the Spiderling, and the Arachnarok, so it is taking its toll finally here. And I know that I'm going to need to have people run interference for Kholek, because clearly that's what my enemy player wants to kill. He wants to kill Kholek so that my entire army will rout. So that's why I'm running him into this forest. Even though he does have penalties in the forest because he is large, it is still a safer position for him in here than out here alone. And here comes that first wave of Squig herds. They are now back, so we have to re-engage. The other Squig herds are going to be coming in shortly. My Shaggoth has come back from rounding along with my Dragon Ogre, so we're going to throw them in here as well to try and save Kholek. I'm in here just to save Kholek, so I'm going to continue to run and try to get on the other side of my soldiers, throwing my trolls over here to try and disrupt all these Goblin heroes and Scarsnake and Gobbler, because they clearly have one thing in mind. Even now, they only want to kill Kholek. They are just trying to walk through all of my forces, which they're actually doing. So I'm going to have to walk around these forces, again, to try and halt these Goblin Big Bosses on their wolves, as we're continuing to deal with more Squig herds, and more Squig herds coming back from routing. It's always more. I do a quick charge into here, and then I'm going to get out and throw in my other Dragon Ogres, again, to try and disrupt these heroes from charging Kholek. And then we finally get a reprieve here. Kholek is almost totally dead, at the edge of breaking, and I'm just going to stick him behind our troops. And you're going to see, I believe that they still try to just push through as the Goblin heroes here. Yeah, it's like they're not really attacking, they're just trying to get to Kholek. So they're just moving forward, but they don't have the mass to push through a line of Chaos Warriors. So that's what's going on right there. We have managed to fend off more of the Squig herds with our Dragon Ogre Shaggoth and a group of Chaos Warriors over here. We are dealing with Scarsnake with our Armored Trolls. Actually, I should say Scarsnake is dealing with our Armored Trolls because he is an anti-large Goblin hero there. And yeah, look, they won't quit. All three of these Goblin heroes just have attack orders against Kholek. This player refuses to give up the chase. So all of my units are just getting free hits on all these guys, but they do eventually break through, and I'm like, oh shit. I'm like one hit away from death, so now I'm trying to run back around and throw my infantry into the one Goblin Big Boss that remains active, and we get to do that. Over here, my trolls did get chewed alive by Scarsing and Goblin. Like, they did really well against them. But I also have my Dragon Ogre Shaggoth over there to try and fend them off. And then finally, this last Goblin Big Boss is going to rout. And I think it's going to send a chain route, because also Scars is going to be running at this point too. So I was going to show a different battle, but then I played that just kind of late last night, and I was just having fun testing out different stuff, and I was like, oh, this is how we're doing it. So good game to my opponent. Thanks for the cheese. You know, in all fairness, maybe this was just one game that this player was doing to try and test the build against Chaos. Remember, I tested an all Manticore Chaos army against somebody. I didn't feel good about it. Maybe it was a similar situation. Maybe this player has not used this build multiple times. Maybe. You know, let's give him a benefit of the doubt. But good game to my opponent. They tried with the Squig herd. It did not work in this case. If all of the Squig herds arrived at the same time around my infantry and totally surrounded them, we most likely would have been crushed. And again, I don't know if Squig herds are small or large. I think they're small. If they're considered large, please let me know in the comments. I'm dying to know. Because the thing is, like, for a while I thought Goblin Wolf Riders were small, because they are. But they're actually considered large. So, but at the same time, I don't think Chaos Warhounds are. So maybe it's just a matter if they're mounted. Like if someone is riding a thing, or if you're like a troll, clearly you're large. But maybe that's the thing. Again, I don't know, because they don't tell you in this game. They don't tell you a lot of things. To find out how the combat mechanics work in this game, people have had to dig in the files and be like, yo, you know, you can go on Reddit and find multiple posts like, okay, this is how the game works. We went into the files. Look at these values. I don't understand why they just aren't in the game. They're so vague. It's always been, ever since like the first patches released and their patch notes were like, yeah, I don't know, man, we changed like the dwarf attack a little bit here and there. Like, they're so vague. And it's so infuriating as a player who really loves this game and wants to know how it works to play it and not know like half the stuff. Anyway, sorry. It's a personal gripe of mine. Warriors of Chaos, we did pretty well, I guess, in fending off against the Squig herd. Scourge, that was, God, 13 of them, man. That's so much. The Arachnoid Queen was thrown into the wrong combat. She has no penalties in the forest. She has Striders, so she should have been thrown right in the middle of my Chaos Warriors, and that may have broken them. The Goblin Big Bosses and Skarsnik, like, single-mindedness to try and shut down Kholek, no matter what, was also a mistake that Ian the Green here did. So yeah, if they threw the Arachnoid, if they actually coordinated the assault with all Squig herds, maybe threw 1 or 2 in to tie Kholek up and the Dragon Ogres, and then everything else into my Infantry Corps, I would have died. Hands down, would have died. Alright, so no doubt in my mind would have died.
Where are those little bastards?
But luckily that didn't happen. Squig herds. Yeah, 500. You get so much stuff for 500. Anti-large, anti-infantry. Their melee defense is crap, but the thing is, they're so offensively strong, and when this procs for 15 seconds, they get even stronger. And they're just so good for 500. You just get such a nasty little piece of terror for 500. It's just, it's really good. It's really good. It's, oh my god, it's so good. And I would still say try and mix in a Squig Hopper for poison damage or maybe a Goblin Big Boss on a Spider Mount. Don't ever bring them on a Giant Wolf. Cut corners somewhere else in your army. Always put this dude on a Spider. It's the poison damage you want from these guys, not their maneuverability for being on a wolf. Like, always a Spider, always. But yeah, anyway, they're pretty good. Something else before we get to the cinematic view I wanted to talk about. My beloved Bretonnia. One, they're getting an update in February, if you haven't seen that yet. So that's, yay, good news. But my boy, man, King Lewin. In the recent update, I think I've mentioned this before. This is too good. This is too good. This works in 2v2, 3v3, 4v4. As long as one player brings King Lewin and has this check marked, and why wouldn't you? Then the entire army, all 4 players, will receive the beloved Son of Bretonnia buff. All of them. All their units are now immune to psychology. They all have increased charge bonus, weapon damage, 8 melee attack. Every single one of them. In 1v1s, it's just as terrible to fight against. The thing about Bretonnia, they had the strongest air force in the game. And they still do, I think. With the combination of the damsels, buff spells, debuff spells, harmonic convergence, and curse the midnight wind. Then you got the paladins with their potions, which, I mean, the meta is potion toughness and potion of foolhardiness, so that you can actually go through the entire potion of toughness. And then, you know, the king got an amazing item with the Sword of Corone, so like this is an amazing ability already and helps him win the air force or whatever battle he's a part of. But now this, the fact that it's on at all times, unless you lower his leadership below 70, 65? It says 50% here. That's not actually correct. It's more like below 80%, I think, of his leadership is the only time that this is going to drop. So, like, not many people have a counter to this, but to shut him down, or at least to shut this buff down, so you can actually fear and terrorize the melee and arms and drop their, you know, weapon strength and melee attack, is, I mean, you have options if you're Warriors of Chaos or the Vampire counts, because then you at least have access to death magic, and then so for a time, for a brief time, where are you? Here you are. You can have a vampire. Probably don't put her on a flying mount against Bretonnia, because that's nearly suicide. But you can cast... Where is it? You can cast Doom of Darkness, and I think that is enough to get rid of his beloved Son of Bretonnia buff for a time. That's just a temporary solution, because his leadership, of course, will return after that. But if you can bombard Loon's leadership, then you have a better chance of shutting down the rest of his forces. Again, very briefly, like, and we can just test this because I haven't actually done that before. So yeah, to crush King Lewin, his army, you need to get rid of that beloved Son of Bretonnia buff. Because at least while it's going to be down with Doom and Darkness, you have a chance at throwing Terra units into their lines, and you don't have to worry about the men-at-arms being So strong. For 550, they become so good with that Beloved Son of Bretonnia buff. Yeah, so they currently now have it. You can see the little buff there on the unit card.
Hearken to my will.
So after we cast Doom and Darkness, it should go away. You can also, well, let's try Soul Blight, because that's a more effective. Oh, that's 16 seconds. How long is Doom and Darkness? 36 seconds. There we go, 64, and you see that their buff is going to now be gone because of Doom and Darkness. So there's that. There is hope to bringing it down in case the opponent is trying to protect King Lewin. They're like running away from any flying forces you have and trying to halt them with like flying paladins or Pegasus Knights. You can sneak a Doom of Darkness. It is a reasonable distance. So that's going to work for, again, 36 seconds. Then I suppose you could... Can you overcast it for longer, or is that just area of effect? That's just area of effect. I don't use Doom of Darkness often, so... I don't use this lore often, so I don't really know it inside and out. But what about... this? Ah, so that would be an extended effect duration. So that's up to 32 seconds. But this is going to be cheaper for 36 if you just want to worry about leadership. But is 8 leadership enough? I honestly don't know. So let's test that out. Oh wait, hold on, we're paused. We need to wait for the other buff to wear off first. Okay, so now they have the Beloved Son of Bretonnia again. So this would be -8, and that is enough. So even at -8 leadership, bringing him down to a 72, as long as you can get it down a little bit, you can negate their buff. So there you go. So that's something you can do if you have access to the Lore of Death. Or is it Lore of Vampire Lore? See, I can never remember. I get those two confused all the time. So that's something. But anyway, I just wanted to bring this up. It's too good. It needs to change. I hope someone at CA sees this or has seen countless other videos on Bretonnia, and because I've seen like tournaments where people just bring Bretonnia now because they're just so good, especially like 2v2 tournaments. God, King Lewin is just dumb. It's beyond dumb. I'm no longer happy about Bretonnia. I used to be, but this just, until this has changed, it saddens me that Bretonnia is just this strong, because it's too good. It's way too good. But anyway, let's go watch a cinematic view of that battle with all the Squig herds and stuff, and forget about King Lewin for a bit. You used to be so cool, King. You used to be the shit. But now you're too good. Ah. There goes one of my transmutations of lead to lower the Squig herd damage and melee attack, which I think definitely helped in my victory here in the forest. At least bring one Goblin Big Boss on a Spider. Like, get some kind of poison damage in here. Oh, I guess the Ragnarok Queen, though. And her Spider. I guess they do provide poison at least. Yeah, this is just not the fight that the Ragnarok Queen wants. All this anti-armor, anti-large Dragon Ogre. This is like their ideal fight, is killing an Ragnarok Queen. Chop off her head. Boom! Shaggoth brothers. A brief reprieve from the Squig herds. Oh, and then there are more. And these Shaggoths are still just so cool. Scarsnick like back up to a tree. Also, I don't believe that Goblin Big Bosses they would have Strider in the forest. Let's just check that real quick. They don't, right? Yeah. So the Spider Rider mount would also give them Strider, so they don't have any penalties in the forest. Yeah, I don't like. I would never get the wolf mount. So there we go. Hope you enjoyed the episode, everybody. And then the little brief talk about Bretonnia. It's I just do really hope that gets like hot fixed, hopefully at some point, or maybe that's what they want Bretonnia to be. Maybe they just want them to be that strong. It turns very weak, cheap infantry into true melee combatants that I have seen fend off like peak gate guard. Like a man-at-arms should not be able to hold ground against a peak gate guard. Granted, the peak gate guard is not ideally situated to fight a low armor unit anyway. Like it's there to kill high armor units, but like it's a peak gate guard. Damn it, it's 1600 in cost. But man, I've seen battles where one man at arms can hold him off for a long time, not win, but hold him off for a long time and deal a significant amount of damage with the beloved son of Bretonnia Buffon. It's really strong. But yeah, anyway, hope you enjoyed the Shaggoth action. I always enjoy bringing the Kholek herd and his buddies around to play. In this case, it was against the Squig herds and the Gobos. But yeah, I will see you all next time, everybody. Take care.